In day 132, the poet again emphasizes on the power of Ramanam, and he enlightens about the obstacles that we come across in the other paths, like the penances, the vows, the charity, right? The ceremonies that we do. All these, what is called the puja and punaskaras, the rituals, the yoga, the havan and other things, it costs a fortune. It's not that easy. Not all can afford to do all the yajna yagas, right? Because the ritualistic part itself is quite expensive. It costs a lot. And here he says, just awakening our mind to Ram's name, how we can conquer the whole of the things. So in a poetic way, he says, Bahutam pari sankate sadhanam chi व्रते दानवुद्यापनेति दनाचि दिनाचा दयालु मणि आटवावा प्रभाते मणि रामचिन्तित जावा प्रभाते मणि राम चिन्तित जावा. So this Prabhate Mani Rama Chintita Java, in the morning hours, in the wakeful state, in between two actions, O mind, keep on meditating on Sri Ram, which doesn't cost you anything. Some people may say it might cost my time, but therefore here it said Sandhi in between. We have not asked you to stop your work or in between. Think of Ramana. Then you gain the highest. Bahutam pari sankate sadhanam chi. So Bahu means many, many folds, many, many types, many, many forms. So, of the various Bahudhampari, of the various things prescribed by the scriptures about the puja vidhana or the yajna havans and all other things, Sankate, it requires, it has some risks, sadhananchi of the penance, isn't it? So, for example, if you take a sankalpam of some vratam, then you know the previous day, the preparations to be bought right from everything. And let me not mention about the puja vidhana now. And on the day of the puja, early morning, getting up, doing lot of things, arranging everything, calling mutedis for the tambulams, doing the panchapaksha paravanas, a great menu, and then sitting and doing calmly the whole puja. Once you sit, you are not supposed to get up. Lot of people I know, they do puja, once they offer the flower here, again they call somebody, again they flower, again they talk to somebody. There's no concentration, there's no focus. In that case, what use is of that puja, isn't it? So it requires lot of risk, it demands lot of money also, isn't it? Labor, involvement of all others. In this, you have to call some people, call 10, 15 people, give the tambulam, what we call it as, isn't it? Beetle net, other things. He says, Vrate dana uddhapaneti dananchi. Then he says, okay, you take some vows, charity, public welfare projects, isn't it? These Dhanaji are meant for wealthy people. If you think, what do you call, Sangarakshana is my thing, then for that it requires a lot of money involvement. If you want to put a road, if you want to build hospitals, if you want to dig bore wells. I know some people, they say, I dig the bore well, and then initially they dig, and then later on they collect from the locality people. I've seen a lot of people like that. They call it as charity, but there's no charity, it's only business. But if you really take up charity work, hmm, it is meant for the wealthy people. Because it takes much of your money to fulfill that. If you want to build chowdhuries, of course, of late there are no chowdhuries. Earlier days, in between villages, for the transit, they used to build chowdhuries for the travelers to reside. Even now, if you go to the Himalayan hills, there's a very famous thing called as Kali Kamliwala. Kali Kamliwala chowdhuries, where you can stay. I stayed in those places during my Chardham Yatra and all. Very comfortable, very peaceful. They even give Kambal, Chadar and all. They serve food and all. Yes. But for that, when people come home, you think how to send them off. Isn't it? Of course, exceptions are there. So here he says it requires a lot of wealth. In others, it requires a lot of risk. Hmm? There's vows you can't break. Once you take up the vow, you can't break. So this being the say continues. Dinacha dayalu mani atavava. He says, in spite of all this, Dinacha humble, dayalu compassionate, mani O mine, atavava remember. Oh humble, compassionate mind, just remember. Remember what? That's $1 million question. Remember of all the past actions that you have done, reveling in the memories of the past success, then present and future will be a failure. Or, or reveling in the planning of the future. Okay, tomorrow, if I become a millionaire, then for every street I will dig a borewell. For all non-sheltered people, I'll give them shelter, especially those people who are staying in huts, all these slum schemes and all, we'll clear off all that and build what you call a studio type apartments for them. One small hall attached, bath and kitchenette, a concrete one where they can reside happily. Once if I win a lottery of 1 CR, I will donate it to something. Uh-huh. Remember what? Remembering is generally related to past or planning. So planning we can't call it as remembering, but still I'm telling you. So a humble compassion means keep reveling in the thoughts. No, no thoughts of that. No planning, no scheming. It says, Prabhate mani Rama chintita java. Remember Sri Ram whenever you get free time. In fact, every breath that you inhale and exhale, it should be with Rama, Nama, Sankirtanam, I tell you. You say Ram and inhale, you say Ram and exhale. If that is not possible, in between, whenever you think you have some free time, just say Ram, Ram, Ram. That alone is the easiest to keep Ram in your heart and ponder of him in a humble fashion, not remembering things of the movies, cartoons that you have seen, the excursions and trips you have gone. No. For students, you are supposed to remember the lessons that have been taught by the teachers or by the lecturers that is required. But here we are talking about this. Just think about Sri Ram every moment. Stay in Ram's thought till we meet next. Thanks for being with.